Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the webinar. We want to thank you for joining us today and preparing for 2021. We'd also like to say this real quick. If you found us after the fact, found us online somewhere, we appreciate you taking the time to hear what we have to say. But to all those joining us live today, we appreciate you taking your time out of your day to listen to what we have to talk about today. My name is Brian French. I'm the managing partner of Red Earth Productions, LLC. And today I'm going to be discussing the importance of creating a marketing plan. Even if you have not done this in the past, we're facing some extraordinary circumstances in our country right now. So the more we can be proactive, be prepared, it does give us a better chance to react to any situation that might arise. We also have here today with us Megan Wallender of the tax office. Good morning, Megan. How are you?
Good morning. I'm doing well, sir. How about yourself?
Fabulous. I look good on the camera too, don't I?
You do.
I tell you, I look in the mirror and I go, who is that guy? It just creeps up on you. Megan's the accounting and payroll specialist with the tax office, and with over 15 years of business management, Megan brings a wealth of experience when talking about budgets, labor costs, and balancing profit and loss statements. Megan, what are you going to be sharing with us today?
I'm going to be discussing how to create a budget, what that looks like, the steps to get started, the middle process, and that bottom line that we all want to see in the positive.
There you go. Many of the companies we work with fall under the subcategory of the small business definition called micro-business. And by the way, that's Red Earth Productions and the tax office as well, correct, Meg?
Yes, that is correct.
You know, so we understand and have some experience in this field, being the same as many of our fellow entrepreneurs. So that's what we're here about. We want to focus into that micro business segment. You usually have 9 employees or less. You know, we're working on a smaller budget than, say, Coca-Cola. So we hope you enjoy, and listen, there's the question screen. You know, if you have questions, why not put it in the comment deal? We'd love to talk about any question you might have about our presentations at the end of this, so feel free to do that. So let's jump right in today to talking about creating a marketing plan. REP is a production company focused on helping micro businesses connect with the community around them. We are currently managing and creating video content for 3 YouTube channels. We also provide video production services for many types of media along with our graphic design department. REP also has developed the Rep Way, creating marketing strategies that focus on being brand conscious and visually creative for micro business and their budgets. This is done with purpose through vision, set in place by the values that drive us as a company and as people, all to create the identity of the brand that will compete and bring brand awareness, brand consciousness to the micro business trying to compete in a very large market. Building business from the inside out through relationships, not transactions. One of the most difficult challenges any business faces is making that connection with the consumer. And I don't care if that's B2C, business to consumer, or B2B, which business to business. Developing that relationship in the community, being able to articulate your objective, your product or services, that's where you have to make that difference between success and failure. How do you build that trust? That's a big question, because when you meet people, you know, that trust, who are you, who am I, how do we relate, how do we connect? What is the best way to develop that trust? Having a plan to clearly define your company to the consumer builds the brand and your identity in the community. So preparing for 2021, you need a marketing plan. So you may ask why. I've never done this in the past. It's not something I've ever done, but a plan is always better than not having or flying by the seat of your pants, like we always say, going Mach 2 with your hair on fire. What's your target market? Have you done your research? These are two things that are very important in what you do. And do you really have the time to do these things? Have you set your goals? Do you have an objective? What are you trying to accomplish in 2021? These are things that are just basic level business opportunities. Is it going to cost more this year to arrive at the same revenue goals? And that's a big key. That's a very big question. Do you want to try a new marketing tool? What does that look like? Have you tried social media, email? Is your website working the way you want to? Do you want to try maybe even direct mail or something that's outside of that? Do you want to try something new this year? Do you have a website? Is your website up to date? Or do you need an online presence? Those are big questions. What does it look like? Is your website saying what you want it to say about you and your company? And do you know if you're working with these other tools, are you getting the traffic to your website that you really are looking for? And do you know that? Do you have the analytics there to understand that? Setting the plan for the entire year, that's a big key. I think there's times where we've thought, hey, I've got this first couple months, I'm going to do this. We get busy and we kind of lose focus on the overall year, and we're like, where do I go from here? But understanding, setting that plan for the entire year, set the plan and follow it. Don't lose the initiative. That if you have an objective, keeping that initiative, staying focused on that objective is keeping the initiative and working through it through the whole year. Do you know if your industry is also trending up or down? You might be in an industry right now, especially with our situation, that might be trending down. And how is that affecting you? And, how do you try and stem that tide of trending down with some good marketing and understanding how to reach and connect with the public? If it's trending up, hey, how do I stay in that flow? How am I continuing to build my brand? What are people conscious of my brand? And that's a big key. Are they conscious of who I am, what I'm doing in the community? If you set the objective, follow through and keep your initiative. That is key to it. How much money are you prepared to spend? Well, that's a big one, right? How much money are you prepared to spend? Use that money for your marketing. If you've set a budget, if you have a budget, Megan's going to be talking about these things. What is that percentage of your revenue that you have intended to spend? Don't stop using that money. I go, well, unless, if something just breaks and you got to do it, I understand, things happen. But if you've set that budget, you know what you're going to spend that money. Do it for those reasons and stay with that initiative that way. Depending upon your current revenue, the SBA recommends using anywhere from 3 to 10% of your projected yearly revenue, depending upon what you've set in your plan. So those are good numbers to look at, and you have to look and see then what can I afford. If you're in that 3 to 10% range, 10% of 200,000 is $20,000. So be prepared to spend that money throughout the whole year. And where's it going to go? And this is why it's so important to have a plan, because $20,000, what are you going to do with that? How far will it go? In what way does it make the most sense? And these are things that we have to ask ourselves and put ourselves in that place. If I'm in a more competitive situation, do I need to spend a little bit more and go above that? Just depends. So we're going to go to making the pieces fit. Don't try something outside of your comfort zone. I think that's a tough thing. If it doesn't feel right to you, if you're pushing I know a lot of people go, oh, I got to go do this. But man, when you're in that situation, sometimes it's hard if you've not done the research. Keep it simple. Do some industry research. This can help point you in the right direction. If you see this over here that may have worked, oh, has this guy done this, but what is the industry? What are they doing? How are they doing it within their industry? Does it fit within your industry? And these are questions that sometimes don't get asked. We just kind of do, and it's like chucking spaghetti at the wall, and we go, did it stick? And that gets tough. So develop a strategy to meet your objective. And that fits within what your industry is, what research you've done, and how you can continue to focus on the objectives you're trying to reach. Decide what forms of marketing will fit your business best. That's a big key. Do you use email? Is social media going to be something that drives? Social media can be a great word of mouth tool. What types of paid advertising work best? Because in the end, that still is a big part of what is there for marketing. What about your website? What about Yelp? Google My Business? Are you using are these part of your strategy? How do you best utilize these pieces? Taking that plan, implementing that plan, managing it, continuing. Don't lose the initiative and stay with those things. Stay focused on them. They all need to work together, having the same message. The biggest thing is your messaging. What do you want? What does your company say? How do you say it? And staying with that message. That is key, because consistency breeds success. Okay. So we are a constant contact partner. And so one of the things we do is we use these tools to develop a lot of these opportunities. Using constant contact tools can help make sense of marketing. There is a partner referral link there you can see, and it'll be in the show post, the show notes here, the webinar notes, that you can click on that. If you're looking for something there, you can do that. Business is always built on relationships. Always, always, always. And that's one of the reasons why we like Constant Contact as a partner. They think the same way we do. Social platforms are proven to drive success. The big one here is the ROI that you see from the email marketing. I mean, you look at that. For every dollar spent, return on investment, $44.20. If you haven't done email marketing, how can it help you? Big one there. We have our partner referral link, as I said, here. Take advantage of a 60-day free trial, and REP can help you utilize these tools to help build your brand. It's a great way to get moving, bringing that holistic approach. We talk about social media, we talk about email marketing, we talk about digital marketing, all these things, paid advertising. How does that all work together? And we work with Constant Contact with these tools, and I know we can help you develop a plan. But if you're still focused on doing that, these are keys that'll help you develop your plan as well. Then we have our strategies here that we use to develop these, called the Rep Way. The Rep Way builds the relationship through long-term planning and strategy. Listen, folks, there's no magic wand. I don't care. There's no overnight success. I was just reading a LinkedIn article, a gentleman talking about the same thing. When are we going to let go of the myth of overnight success? You might have just heard of that person or that company overnight, but it took them 5 years to get there. That's just the way it works. Establishing your social and digital footprint while keeping your budget intact, which is a big key. Long-term planning and strategy, digital, email, social. We take these things into focus when we do this. Video production, graphic design, social branding, social advertising, building email lists and campaigns, website content development, copywriting. All these factors go into a good marketing plan, and how you use them, when you use them, and what you're doing them with, so that it is impacting the community around you. Brand conscious. You want people to be conscious of your brand. Establishing your brand in the marketplace. And with the Rep Way, we've developed these into 1 and 3 year plans. So with that being said, we want to thank you for listening here to what we have to say. Again, we're a Constant Contact partner. Check that link out in the webinar notes below. Always building business through relationships, not transactions, being brand conscious and visually creative. So, Megan.
Yes.
We got some great stuff there, with building your marketing plan. If people are talking about, I want to do this, how do we set them in motion on the financial side, right?
Yes, having a budget is going to be key.
So, folks, enjoy what Megan's got for you here.
So we're going to talk about budgeting, and we can overthink and we can underthink a budget. And there's going to be a lot of questions that are going to arise. Why do I need a budget? I've never had one, so where do I start? What tools am I going to need? And do I need assistance? Do I need an accountant? Do I need a payroll specialist? So those are questions that are going to arise when, thinking long term, I need a budget. I need to know where my money is going, because that is one thing I will always say is you don't know how your business is doing, whether it's large or small. You don't know how it's doing unless you know where that cash is going. So growth comes when there are 3 basic practices in place: plan for growth, a budget in place, and tracking that revenue and growth, where it's going. Growth can come with all 3 of those not in place. However, it's not going to be around for a long time. 28 million small businesses make up 99.7% of all U.S. firms. Small business, we are huge to the success of the United States workforce. So when we think about how much time are you willing to put in to your business to see that growth? Throughout this time, I'm going to discuss how to put that plan in place and see the growth. We do not want any one of us to be part of the 29% of businesses that fail due to cash flow. If you don't know where your money's going, it's easy to run out. So we want to remember first and foremost that budgets are a guideline. It's going to help you navigate your financial growth throughout the year. You're going to make changes, you're going to make adjustments due to business flow and market changes. So yes, we want to follow a budget. We want to make sure that we have one in place, but you are going to make adjustments at the end of the third quarter, into that or not the third, but the first quarter, second quarter, third quarter. So, but throughout that course of the year, putting a plan in place, a budget, good accounting practices it's always going to help you navigate through all the bumps and curves that are going to be thrown your way as a small business. And as we all know, 2020 has thrown us definitely some curves. So there are going to be several expenses in running your business. Your biggest expense is going to be product, managing damage, theft, waste, or simply that the item is not selling. Now, I'm focusing on a business that sells a product, a retail, but a budget is going to be very important to any type of business. That is why continued market research for your business, for your product, is going to be vital to your success. Your second biggest expense is going to be labor and payroll taxes. Sometimes we forget that payroll taxes, it can sneak up on you real quick. Which, if you are a business that doesn't sell a product, this might be your biggest expense at the end of the year. So choosing the right team to support you, that hiring process is going to be vital to your budget. Because on average, a new hire can cost you $450 to train, the hiring process and the training of the employee, it can become very costly. So you want to make sure that you are keeping that in mind when creating the budget. If you think that you're going to hire 1 employee, 2 employees, whatever that looks like over the course of the year, you want to take that into consideration when talking about your budget, okay? So how to get started. So you're going to need a prior year budget if you have one. If you don't, it's okay. Don't stress on me. A year-to-date statement. So typically, we want to start a budget in that fourth quarter going into the next year. So October, November, you really want to start sitting down and thinking, okay, so what does my first quarter look like? What does my second quarter look like? And we recommend that you have a basic Excel program, accounting software with a budget program. Most computers with Excel or Word will offer a simple budget template to help you break that down. You want to break it down into a 12-month spreadsheet, Word, whatever you have will work. You want to break that down January, February, so on and so forth. The next step is going to be creating a rough draft. So you can create a rough draft on your computer, or what works best for me is I write it down. I can get my head wrapped around certain expenses and what I'm going to be starting with. So you want to create that rough draft starting with projections and goals for the upcoming year. So you want to know what you think that your company is going to do over the course of the next year. Look at last year. Hopefully you know the prior year to that. Look at what you brought in. You're going to see fluctuations, but you want to take those averages and set that dollar amount that you think is going to come in over that next year. It's going to be your gross revenue, sometimes called operating income, but it's basically cash in hand, what you think is going to come in throughout the course of the year. You will then want to project that, or project what it will cost you in product materials to run your business. We like to call that cost of sales. If you provide a service such as lawn care, this will be materials and supplies, which again is that cost of sales. If you are selling a product such as clothing, for example, this will also fall into that category as well. We forget about direct labor and subcontract labor as well. This falls into that category too. It costs you to have somebody on your payroll to do a job, sell something, whatever that looks like. So you don't want to forget direct labor, and subcontractors do fall into that category as well. You will then want to break down your expenses. This can be anything from fixed costs to non-fixed. So your fixed costs are going to be your rent payments, your auto payments, equipment, insurance, marketing, and advertising. Your non-fixed costs are going to be supplies, office expenses, utilities, lawn care, repair and maintenance, anything that's going to fluctuate. Those are the things that can typically get a little out of hand without a budget. So at the end of the day, when all of that is said and done, you are going to have a bottom line, and we hope that it is positive. We want to see that plus sign there. When we have a starting point and we have a great foundation, a great budget in place, you're going to have a finish line, which is the end of the year. Running a small business, it can be rewarding and it can be very trying at times. So, we make up the country, small businesses make up the country's largest workforce. As I said in the beginning, 99.7% are made up by you and I. We are driven and we want to continue that from years to come. We want to be here for a long time. We don't want to be here today and gone tomorrow. And with these practices in place, you can really truly create a solid foundation, and you're going to see that growth for sure. As a small business owner, we want to see our people succeed and be the best that they can be. We want to see the potential. I personally love to see someone hit their potential and be the best that they can be. So with great practices in place like this, you're going to see some growth for sure.
I was focused on listening to you, Megan.
It was that intent, wasn't it?
Yes.
Well,
yeah.
Good. I'm glad.
That was good stuff. So let's take a few minutes, Meg, you and I, and discuss how these two situations work together, right?
Absolutely.
Because business, when you're starting, you have a business plan. You should.
Yes.
Part of that business plan is having a marketing plan. Part of that is the financial side of it, having a financial plan. These are three. An overarching business plan has within it a financial plan and a marketing plan.
Yes, it does.
And, I don't know just off the top of my head, but I've seen this a lot within statistics when we do the research, how many people are not following these processes within the micro business segment. You might do it once to get a loan.
Yes.
But did you follow up with that, and are you following those objectives and putting those things in place? And in your experience, have you seen a lot of budgets being followed?
In my experience, I would say it's probably 50-50. I think as a small business owner, we tend to wear too many hats. And so when we think about the things we want to, creating a budget is what can we outsource? What can we do ourselves without taking away or taking away the focus on what's really important, which is growing your business. So really setting those priorities in place. What can I do without taking the focus off my business, and what can I outsource from a financial standpoint?
I think that's the big key, isn't it? What can
Yes.
what are my strengths?
Yes, absolutely.
I think that's the difficulty. First, looking in the mirror.
Yes, for sure.
What am I good at, and what am I not good at? And how can I find people around me in the community that does these types of things that I can trust?
Yes.
build that relationship. This is what we talk about with marketing in general, is if we're unwilling to trust the people around us, what's that messaging going out from us? How can people trust us? What are we doing here? And building those trust. It's not that you just go willy-nilly, but
Right.
it's about building trust in the community as a company and trusting those in the community to help you.
Absolutely. Relationship is key. You said that in your presentation. Building relationships that are going to last and that you can trust that person to handle the areas that you may not be in strong as. In my experience over 15 years, I was a general manager for years, and I had to learn, and it was not something that came overnight. For sure, it was not. But I learned where my strengths were, and you're not going to be good at something if you don't like doing it. So you have to be willing to, let an employee do something, or your manager, or whoever you have put in place to be able to help you grow. You can't do it all by yourself. You just can't.
Well, I think that's a big part of it. And when you start looking at how do you build a plan, okay, and we've both diagnosed a few things here, doing research. If you're setting yourself in motion on your own this way, research is a big key.
Yes.
Are you taking the time to look at the factors involved? Where do you get the information? I love the Google machine. Right?
It's very helpful.
And it's a great tool. I know that you can find a lot of information, but sometimes what I find, and even in my own research, I have found it to become overwhelming a little bit. Yes?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. It's hard to navigate through it.
Well, because then what pertains to me?
Right.
Am I asking the right questions?
Mm-hmm. What's relevant to me?
Right, and I think those are the questions sometimes we don't ask, and we get kind of lost in the shuffle of it, and we go, I don't even know. It's not worth my time.
It's not worth my time. We get discouraged and we give up.
Yeah, and you can't do that.
Nope.
That's where finding that local professional that might be able to help you navigate that. What does that look like, and how does that relationship build?
Absolutely.
And I think these are the things that can be of a great help to us. You can't ever give up but understanding the question, what's my question? What's the objective? Sometimes, I'm going to go back to what I was saying when we talk about making all the pieces fit. We talk about it just within the marketing structure of all the different types of marketing you're doing, but it is that within business as well. And sometimes we overcomplicate things, and you go back to the KISS system, and that's why I just didn't add the extra S when I said keep it simple.
Right.
And I try to do that myself. So the more I've found working to keep it simple within that context of not overreaching, not putting myself too far ahead to where it becomes overwhelming, but taking those steps. What am I looking at? How am I doing this? Finding all those pieces within business, from financial to marketing to human resources to how many hats, IT, all these things within business that we all deal with every day can be an overwhelming obstacle sometimes for our business, because we've entered into a business because we really loved it, and we find that we're on this business side and we hate that, and it takes some of the joy out of what we're doing. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yes, it can. Yes.
And so I think that can be somewhat overwhelming for us in those respects. So when we talk about partnering with the tax office, we talk about how do we function within that context of bringing those budget thought processes into how those work together, right, Meg?
Absolutely, yes. Yes, as a small business, just like you said, all the puzzle pieces fit together, and you might have to, when you sit down and do a puzzle, you might have to move a couple pieces here and there. It's okay to move that. It's okay to adjust things throughout the year. And as driven small business owners, sometimes we get ahead of ourselves and we get afraid of the unknown, which, just like Brian said, it can cause us to give up and not pay attention to that side of it. Don't be afraid of the unknown, and don't be afraid to ask questions. Reach out, call somebody. You know, there's a lot of resources out there, but don't be afraid of the unknown, because the unknown might just sink you, unfortunately.
And that's true. That's very true. Mentorship is huge right now.
Yes.
Do you have a mentor? Do you have those types of things? Because it can be overwhelming. And one of the things that we look at when we're talking about marketing, when it comes into play with a budget, is cost effectiveness. Is it cost effective? What's my return on investment? How do I put those things in place? And I think that's even bigger on the micro business level when you're talking about how do I even measure return on investment? Can I measure the return on investment? Did this person come in because of this and this? Are we asking the right things? Are we bringing those things to bear? How is do I even know if my website is actually drawing traffic? Where do I find that? I don't understand Google Analytics.
Most of us don't.
Right? And then on the other side, you have a similar thought process when you're talking about building a budget. What does that look like if you've not done it before or engaged at that level before? Yeah?
Absolutely. Yes. Both can be very overwhelming.
And so that's what we want to talk about more than anything in that respect. So I'm going to throw it at my chief engineer over there, Justin. And, you know, you may not have any questions, but we got it open. Anything thrown in there, son?
Yeah, I got one for you.
Okay.
We got a question saying, if I'm looking for help in both of these areas, is there one I should outsource before the other? And what would be a good plan of action?
That's a great question.
That's a great question.
Very good. Very good.
Pick me.
Well, honestly, just from my standpoint, I would honestly say this. I would say business first. If your budget isn't in line, how do you know how much money you can spend on a marketing plan? That's a fair assessment.
Absolutely.
That's the way I would look before we did anything, before we spent any money. I'm looking at my budget. What's my revenue? How do I look at these things and bring to bear in that? Then I can then look at outsourcing marketing and see, I'm trying to fit it within this budget. Who is out there that can really help me for this type of money? What does that look like? That's my opinion, Megan.
Absolutely. And to grow on that point, when we think about marketing and you want to market, you want to advertise, however, can your business truly sustain that growth? Do you have great practices in place? Do you have the people in place? Do you have the money to support that growth, whether it's buying more product, creating that service, whatever that looks like? You want to make sure that you know that you have a financial plan in place before you want to start growing that business, because you don't want to get into a situation where you have a great marketing plan, you have a great advertising plan, but you're not ready for that sales increase. So starting with a basic budget, a basic financial plan, having those ducks in a row, and then getting that great marketing plan in place, you're going to see that longevity versus 1 year of great growth and then you dive. It's having those ducks in a row for sure.
Right, because infrastructure is key.
Yes, it is. Foundation.
Right. We don't think about that. So if I've got all that marketing plan, when do I have the plan to hire that next person?
Right.
If I hit this mark, I know I'm going to need to hire this person to take care of this, and where does that happen? All these things are planned, and I think that's the difficulty with what we talk about within micro business.
Right.
Is have we asked the right questions about those things? That's a great question. Love that question. So we hope that answered that for you, but that would be my take.
Mine as well.
Justin, anything else there, bud?
That's the only one we have currently.
Okay.
But if anyone wants to add in You can always email us on the website. Any of those options are still open. We can email you back after the fact, after the webinar. So feel free, if you don't have anything on your minds right now, make sure to throw it in there later.
Right.
Outstanding. So thank you for joining us today. We do appreciate it. Again, our contact information for the tax office for Red Earth Productions are in the webinar notes below in the description. Our website information, emails, phone numbers, it's all there. You can get us. You can check us out on Facebook. Follow us there. We're here to help. We want to be a business resource, and I'm gonna plug this because this is what we do, and Megan knows this because we work closely with the tax office. But our channel here that we just built this, and it's still in its infancy, and we're working to grow. But we want this channel here that we're doing this webinar on to be a growth vehicle for micro business. We are looking to create a resource information segments throughout this channel that can help micro businesses learn about, finance, taxes, marketing, whatever you name it, that's what we're looking to do. So we're going to have more resources. We're going to talk with more local businesses around here to bring those resources. We want it to be a place where you can come, get the questions answered that you need for your business to grow and to help you succeed in your community. So please hit that subscribe button for more stuff. There's plenty of stuff. We got tips from TTO going. You can check that out with me and Megan. We talk about these types of things on a regular basis. So Megan, anything you'd like to add?
No, we hope that you enjoyed this, and definitely stay tuned because 2021 is right around the corner. So we got lots of information coming out. So definitely keep up with us.
Outstanding. Everybody, thank you for joining us again. And remember, have a great day in the Lord, and we'll see you next time.